Alright everyone, over the last 24 hours you've seen an official gaslighting campaign, and it is being coordinated. I guarantee that when Biden makes multiple tweets around exactly the same time that a bunch of DNC paid shills are replicating the same thing in order to game Twitter's algorithm, especially with regards to hashtags, it was coordinated. They probably had a little meeting before they decided to simultaneously reach out to all of their fans under the hashtag Bidenomics. Yes, Joey's ultimate gaslight grifting. They are attempting to game algorithms. It's interesting because I thought that was usually evidence of propaganda and disinfo. Oh my god, the Russians hijacked a hashtag about Justin Bieber's penis in order to push forward some sort of socio-political message, and we must stop them through more censorship. But if we're doing it, it's a-okay. The problem is that what Joey's saying is completely fucking wrong. Bidenomics has not worked, but I'm going to read out the little, carefully prepared graphic that he created, which, by the way, looks an awful lot like the kind of graphics created by the Lincoln Project. There's never any coordination between these groups. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Ignore me. Bidenomics, noun. Bidenomics is about growing the economy from the middle out and the bottom up. If you're talking about the obesity pandemic, I suppose that's true. Not the top down. It's an economic vision where we make smart investments in America, educate and empower American workers, and promote competition to lower costs and help small businesses. Yes, you promote competition by destroying a bunch of small businesses with lockdownerism and hyper-regulation. You're growing the economy, and the problem being that because of massive inflation, it's not really having a positive impact on people. And yeah, the Biden admin has created a whole lot of jobs. Mostly at this point, second jobs. See, the problem is, and this was reported on some months ago, American families that are feeling the crunch. They're on the margins of comfort. So we're talking especially about the uppermost echelon of the working class through the lower end of the middle class. This is several tens of millions of people in the United States, by the way, in this echelon. It's fairly large. These are people that, up until the last couple of years, were kind of making it. They didn't have to worry that they were not going to be able to make their payments because of one missed paycheck. They had a little bit more latitude. They had to miss 3 or 4 before they were on death's doorstep economically. So these are people that are not poor. But they're constantly abused because they're not rich enough to buy a senator and they're not poor enough to qualify for welfare, basically. So these people are perpetually screwed within the U.S. economy. These people have been given basically one of two choices under Bidenomics. We still have high inflation because it's a year-over-year metric. I keep trying to explain this to people. People who are poor at math, which is 90% of the population, don't understand what I'm saying. Oh, the inflation rate fell. Huzzah, things are getting better. No, they're not. They're just getting less worse. That's the easy way to explain it. Again, I'm not even going to bother trying to explain it because anyone who doesn't already understand the phenomena apparently is too fucking ignorant to ever get it. Because of that, people in that echelon have two choices. Number 1, take out a credit card to buy groceries. Yes, the amount of credit lines that are opening up is catastrophically high right now. That's not a good thing. If the economy is growing very quickly, outpacing, if you've got like a 1983 sort of thing going on, or the roaring 20s, people are taking out credit lines because they're like, look, times are good right now. There's a high reward and the risk is limited because I have a feeling, I'm a young entrepreneur, I think there's nowhere to go but up, there's this wide open field and I can play the game. I'm going to take out credit in order to jumpstart my finances so that I can build my business. I'm going to take out a credit line so I can get that vehicle and I can become a freelance plumber. Something like that. That's under good circumstances. When times are harder, like they are under Biden's shitty economy, people are taking out credit lines because they've got no other choice but to get their basic necessities on a credit line. A significant number of people in the middle class, and not just the lower middle class, have owned up to the fact that, yeah, I got a credit card, I got a reasonable deal on it, and I figured, well, I can buy food that isn't ramen soup. The second possibility, and this dovetails with job creation, as Biden so often peddles it, is that people take out a second job. The problem is that doesn't affect unemployment. That's why in the last month, unemployment rose slightly while the number of jobs created was actually rather high. Yes, Biden, you did a great job. Several 100,000 people had to take out a second job to afford their necessities. And these are, in many cases, these are people in the working class who were already under stress prior to Bidenomics, even when times are good, like, let's say 2018 or thereabouts, when things were really going ahead under Trumponomics. Even then, the working class feels the pinch. They're not making a boatload of money. If they're lucky, then they've been apprenticed or something. Now they're an electrician. Okay, maybe now they're making $70K a year. They're not doing too bad. But a lot of people, they're a chef at a greasy spoon diner. Well, they're making more than minimum wage, but they're not exactly living in the Ritz now, are they? Under Bidenomics, they're probably cramming 5 people to a room in order to make ends meet. Hey, Jimmy, I need you to take out a side hustle or something, because me and your mom are already working double shift and we can't work anymore. But I'm 10, Dad. It doesn't matter. The Republicans will throw us some relief and ease the child labor laws. This is what's happening under Bidenomics. The gaslighting here is sheer. And by the way, it's also pathetic. Because if you look at the ratio here, you'll see that most people see through it. I was pointing out the fact that taking out second jobs is not an indicator of a strong economy. I tried to point out that inflation is year over year, but again, if somebody's a fan of Joe Biden, number one, even if they kind of get it, they're not going to admit to it because of cognitive dissonance, because Orange Man bad, and Orange Man likely the person running against Joe Biden in 24. And otherwise, they don't understand it at all, which shows sheerest ignorance, a mental incapability that is probably insurmountable. There's something wrong with them mentally. This is why schools desperately need to teach basic accounting at the very least. We need to return to accounting and civics and get rid of the 2 + 2 = 5 woke aspect of math and the watered-down history courses, which focus an awful lot on ancient civilizations and don't even teach people to understand their own constitutional rights in the here and now. It's sort of like a nostalgia for ancient Rome or Egypt. I love ancient Rome and ancient Egypt, but it's more important that kids know, hey, I've got the right to a fair trial. Get the right to bear arms and things like that. Those actually impact the here and now. Otherwise, it only impacts you if you're an archaeologist. And I weighed in on this briefly. Bidenomics, noun. This is my definition. An economic vision wherein U.S. citizens are virtually ignored while limitless funds are sent to Ukraine or granted to woke corporations. I like it when Biden says, well, this isn't going to be a top-down economy. So those trillions of dollars, trillions with a T, that you've spent on infrastructure, subsidies, etc., bureaus, and the IRS expansion, that's not top-down. That's middle out and bottom up, the lower class supposedly becoming more wealthy, which it's not. Wages are not pacing inflation. Not if you use the year-over-year metric. They only pace inflation at this point if you use 1 year-over-year metric and 1 month-over-month metric. You have to mix up your statistics in order to argue that wages are pacing inflation. Go to the grocery store. Tell me if that's true. Do you feel more wealthy? To every person physically in the United States that hasn't won the lottery or a major civil case or something like that, and they won the legal lottery, do you feel more wealthy? I mean, I'm over here in the Netherlands physically right now. Inflation here is high as well. Despite the fact that my income has risen year over year, for some time, pertinent to inflation, the rise is lower. I'm still doing well, but, if it weren't for, the lockdown inflation, which is a large cause of why this is happening, and the mass spending to stimulate economies that were artificially put in a coma, I'd be on cloud 9 economically. Instead, it's like, okay, things are improving, but I'm an outlier. Most people are sliding backwards. Thank you, Joey. You may not be the only one mismanaging an economy right now. The government here is currently trying to steal 10,000 people's fucking family farms in order to build more housing. I guarantee that's the real reason why they want that land, by the way. But you are definitely mismanaging things pretty badly. And the United States' economy is not doing particularly well. And to try to gaslight the public with a straight face and tell people that everything's fine belies is stupid, because they go to the grocery store, they go to the gas pump. They have to pay the bills. They do this on a regular basis. They're more acutely aware of their economic situation than Joey is, and yet his people think that this is a winning line. Is that why you're being near ratioed on this post? Joe Biden can bot all he wants and have as many so-called influencers on Twitter and TikTok simping for him as he wants. People see through it, Joe. That's about all. Peace out.